All right. Well, Chelsea, welcome to the show. Thank you
Yeah.
for being here. I'm super excited to talk to you. You have just a really kind of fascinating specialty, which I just think is really cool. So why don't we start by just kind of tell people exactly what it is that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me here today. So I have an online business and I work with other entrepreneurs and online business owners, and I package and sell their digital courses. So we work with people all over the US, in Mexico, Canada, UK. Um, I am here in Huntersville or in Lake Norman, but we work with people all over the place.
I love it.
It's a smart business model. Like, I thought of doing this way back, like when courses and online education started becoming more popular, and I just never did.
Right. Because it's like everybody wants to start a course. Everyone wants to do a course. It's such a popular thing, but to actually get it done is so intimidating.
It's a big,
Yes.
massive hurdle to get started if you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Absolutely. There's just so much that goes into it. And I truly believe anybody can have a successful digital course, but it will absolutely take time to get it to the place where you want it to be. So a lot of my clients that I work with, they want to have a course because they want to have additional stream of revenue, additional income. Sometimes it's their retirement plan, like they are working one-on-one with their clients or traveling a lot. And so they want to create a digital course so over time they can retire from what they're doing in their current business and really leverage the digital course.
Yeah.
Now, are you coming up with like the concept for the course? Like, you know that they're experts, obviously, if they're coming to you for that, but do you help them like craft how the course should be structured? Like, how do you work?
Yeah. Okay. That's a really good question. So they are the experts in whatever it is that they do. And I don't take any credit for that. But what I help them do is figure out what their course offer is.
Okay.
Package that and then sell it. And so we're a done for you service. So not only do we do the strategy and the project management for a launch, but we build out all the tech, which can be very cumbersome. There's just a lot of pieces to it. So I don't tell them what to teach, but I might say, based on who your audience is, based on what you teach, based on your expertise, this is how I think you should deliver your material. This is how I think you should price it. This is what I think you should include with it. It's not necessarily just the course material, but are you going to do coaching calls? Are you going to do live Q&As? Are you going to have a community that goes with it? So it's really packaging that offer for their course and then getting it in front of their audience.
So how did you end up in this area of focus?
Totally not planned. So I started my career in hospitality. And anybody that's worked in hospitality, you were working nights and weekends and holidays, anybody in the food and beverage, hotels. I worked in country clubs, and it was a great place, but I have a young family and I did not want to be spending my weekends closing a building at 2 a.m. and then coming home to my small kids, right? And so I knew I needed to do something different. It took me 2 years to actually make the change and leave my career. And I couldn't find what I wanted, so I had to create it. And I started my business. I started my business as a virtual assistant. So I was doing a little bit of everything for anybody that asked. And I just felt like I was jack of all trades and master of none. And I didn't like that. So I spent the year of 2019 and I said, okay, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I'm just going to pay attention, and I'll figure out from what I'm doing, what is the one thing that I really like the most, and I'll go all in. So I happened to be doing some support for clients that were launching and support for clients that had digital courses. And I thought, oh, I really like this. And so I made the decision. It was kind of a light bulb moment. If I'm helping one person in this arena, there's probably more people that need help. And so in 2019, in the fall, that's when I made the decision to only do digital course launches. And that's what I've been doing.
I mean, if I'm sure you know the actual stats, but it's like in 2024, they predict like $352 billion is going to, it could be more, it could be less, but it's like a massive number of online education is what's paid. So, people are paying a lot of money to have online education. If you're not taking advantage of it, like there's money that could be made there that you're possibly missing out on.
Yes. right now, I see a lot of people kind of scared to invest in their online business or invest in creating a digital course because they think that, nobody's going to buy. There's all the recession talk and things like that. But you're absolutely right that the online course world is only growing from here on out. And if you think about it, back in 2008, when, everything went downhill, people went back to school.
Right.
Enrollment increased from 16% from 2007 to 2010, 16% for like 2-year and 4-year education. And it's because people want to learn a new skill set. They want to become more valuable. They're going to use this opportunity if they get laid off to switch careers, and they might have to learn how to do that.
Yeah, it's like a reset point.
Yes, absolutely. And if you think about 2008, YouTube was just beginning, right? It was like music videos and like stupid videos.
Yeah.
And now YouTube, you can learn anything on YouTube, right? And so it's the whole landscape is different now compared to 2008. And so what I like to tell all my clients and what I like to talk about is you can go back to school for $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 to learn a new skill set. Or you can take a digital course with real life experiences for maybe $1,000, $2,000.
I mean, we all went to college. Like I went to college.
Yeah.
I've learned way more. One, just getting experience and getting hands-on experience, but from buying online courses from people that have done specifically what I want to do. Like I've learned so much more from that.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of clients I work with say, I'm creating this course because I didn't learn this in college. Well, they don't teach this.
They don't teach you. My wife's a real estate attorney. And so they teach you how to practice law. You can be a lawyer, but they don't teach you how to run a law business. And so that's something there,
disconnect.
No idea. So that could be a course for some lawyer that's listening, because we're not going to do that one. So go do that one yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Chelsea, so you've been a part of probably a whole ton of launches at this point, and I'm sure sort of varying levels of success just in terms of, marketing and sales kind of beyond, the scope of necessarily what you're doing. But can you speak to what are some of the biggest factors that maybe go into really successful courses versus less successful courses?
Yes, I love this. Okay, so the first thing is proof of concept. So if you're like, hey, I just had this random idea, I could go out and teach people. Well, that's cool. And you maybe could be successful at that, but what's your proof of concept? Have you taken people through your framework? Have you gotten results for people? So that's the first thing.
Okay, well, that's really good just right there. So basically what you're saying is you need to have some real world evidence that this works and that people are willing to pay for it, right? Which I think is probably really important, because a lot of times people, when they're starting courses, it's like a second business, or it's maybe unrelated or just tangentially related. So I know friends that have, had ideas forever, but no proof of concept. So that's actually, I think, really important and interesting.
And that's where I would start. And if you really have a solid idea, but you're like, maybe I've done this for myself, but not for other people, go find 3 people and just teach them this one-on-one. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to start with, videos and a course platform and all that stuff. You can go find 3 people, work them, walk them through a framework, meet with them once a week, and there's your proof of concept.
That's so smart, because it's make sure it works, make sure people want it.
And make sure you can deliver results. You might have done well for your business, but teaching people's different, walking people through how to do what you've done. You might have just been some crazy person that worked 75 hours and that was what made you successful, and you didn't realize it. You thought it was your crazy idea. And it's well, make sure that the people get results, because when you can get results, the testimonials, I'm sure, is what helps sell the course.
Yes, exactly. And when you have those results and you have those testimonials, you show up differently. You talk about your course differently because you have
you believe it.
Knowledge. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So proof of concept was kind of number one. Keep going. This is really good.
Yeah. So I would definitely say also having an audience and having an email list. And I know you love email lists, because you just can't rely on social media. I think social media is great, but I've had clients where they go to launch and they get locked out of their account, or we did a launch recently and he was banking on using Facebook ads and it just did not work out the way he had anticipated. And it's unpredictable. It's not your platform. It's somebody else's platform.
Makes so much sense.
And so having an email list, a solid email list that you have built and nurtured is where I would definitely start. I think a lot of people try to cut that out and just launch. But sometimes I say you got to like slow down, get yourself an email list, be consistent with nurturing, and then launch your course or then promote your course.
All right, Danny, you talked about email list. I said, hey, I'm diving into it. It inspired me. Here's some real numbers. We had somebody manually go through our files from 2019 and take all of the emails of real estate agents that closed with us. They've worked with us. We've already talked. Took all those emails. We got an additional 1,700 emails onto our email list of our avatar client. I then created a webinar for advanced level education for real estate agents. Sent it out to our email list for the real estate agents. We had 218 people sign up for an online webinar on a Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. We had 118 show up, and an hour in, 100 were still there asking questions.
Heck yeah.
So, email list. Work.
Love it, man.
Thank you, Danny.
And you did all this in the last, month or two?
Yeah. 4 weeks.
That's amazing.
Hey, man. Yeah, you gave us a good idea.
I love it. I love it.
And they're actually really good stats.
Yeah. I was like super impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So speaking of numbers, like if someone says, okay, like what do you consider a solid email? Right? Like,
well, it is subjective. To work with our team, at least 1,000.
Yeah.
Because you're investing in us to help you launch your digital course. Like you kind of have to know what you're doing, or have an established audience, established business in order to work with us. You can definitely do a course without that many, but your results, you're not going to have a 6-figure launch with 200 people on your email list.
That makes so much sense. So that really does.
That's like sense. Where I like to start is 1,000.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So, okay, so proof of concept is really important. Strong email list is really important. Any other sort of like ingredients that go into like a successful launch?
It's this concept of, we call it a pancake launch. So I am borrowing this from one of my clients, and she is a baker. She's like, when you make pancakes, you always throw the first one away. I was like, what? I'd never heard that before. And she said, you make the first pancake in order to test the pan, test the batter. Is it hot enough? Is it the right consistency? You test it out. And then sometimes it's really good and you eat it. Sometimes you just throw it away and what changes you have to make. And so I love the idea of having a pancake launch where you're really you're really putting it out there. You're testing the waters. You're testing your audience. You're testing all sorts of different things. And so you can learn what to change, what to improve, what to make better. Because digital courses, it's not a one and done. You can launch the same course. I have a client, we just completed her 8th launch. She launches the exact same thing over and over and over again, 2 times a year. And that's
because her list changes. She gets new people in her audience.
Yep.
There's people that didn't buy the first or third or fourth time, and now it speaks to them. So,
exactly.
Don't forget to relaunch. I mean, I'm sure that's one of your tips.
Yeah. And so
I do think that's, if I could ask for a second, I do think that's super interesting, that you continually relaunch as opposed to just keeping it open. Right. And keeping it available. I see.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about this world. It's such a unique, specific world. I see people that just kind of keep their course library or whatever just open all the time. But it sounds like what you're saying is a better way to go about it is kind of relaunch it.
Yeah. So there's different options. I recommend that you live launch, meaning you have a period of time where your cart is open, people can enroll, and then you close it. So do that at least 2 or 3 times.
It creates that scarcity? Is that why?
Yeah, it does create that sense of urgency, scarcity, you better get in now, otherwise you're not going to be able to do it for several months, down the road. But it also gives you time to learn. I feel like you learn a lot. Your students learn a lot from you, but you also learn a lot from your students. What questions are they asking? Where are they getting stuck? What are they asking more of? And you can take that feedback and kind of tweak and refine your course and then launch it again. And maybe it's just how you talk about the course, or maybe it's, what you want to add another bonus or something. You don't always have to like redo your course content, but how you package it, you might do that. So I like to live launch at least 2 or 3 times. For this particular client, it just works. And for her, she is a full-time physician. No, she's not full-time. She's now a part-time physician because she has the side business. So she's a part-time physician. She's an expert witness. And now she has a side business teaching other physicians how to become expert witnesses. And so she's got a lot going on. And doing a launch works for her because only a few weeks out of the year is she really focused on bringing people in. She delivers the course. And then she has this kind of break for a few months. She's still list building and she's still getting out there and doing other things, but she's not full force, on her business. Now, I do have some clients that they will live launch a few times, and then they do want to shift to what we call as evergreen, which means it's open all the time. The downside to that is you have to be continually pushing people to it. So a lot of people do Facebook ads or Instagram ads to get eyeballs on your course, but it does have to be kind of an automated sequence to get people in, so they're more likely to buy.
That makes so much sense.
So it does. I feel like it takes time to get to having a successful evergreen course. If you just put on evergreen, sometimes people have it on their website, but they're not driving any traffic to it. They're not giving it any attention, and then it just sits there.
Yeah, that makes a ton of
What's your biggest launch you've done?
The client that's launched 8 times, her course is about $3,500, and she now has done multiple 6-figure launches. So I think 215 might have been her biggest one.
That's awesome. I have a friend in wedding photography, and he did a course, and
yeah,
I remember his first launch was really bad. He did like $10,000, and he invested way more than that.
Sure.
Just the ads. And the second time he did it was like $150,000. So the pancake method worked.
And I love that example because I feel like people hang all their hopes and dreams on the first launch. And if it doesn't go the way they want, they just say, oh, it's a terrible idea. It didn't work. But you can learn so much from that first launch. You make some tweaks, you make some changes. Sometimes it's just really subtle changes. And then you never know what can happen the second, third, fourth.
Love it. No, that's so cool. So you mentioned your team a couple times. Talk a little bit about what your business looks like. It's, you got some employees, presumably.
Yes. So they're technically subcontractors, but they are my team. So I have 2 that work primarily with me. One does all of our tech, and then the other one does project management, just really communication with the client, making sure we have all the assets for a launch. And that allows me to be kind of the face of the business and strategize with our clients, and then they execute. And I have another team member. She does just some kind of small ad hoc projects here or there for us.
Cool. That's really great. So for people listening out there that are, maybe wondering, do I have a course in me, or, should I do a course? What do you say to somebody who's just kind of starting to think about that?
For somebody that is thinking about creating a course, it is the blend of like, what do you want for your business? What are your business goals? What kind of impact do you want to have? What is the market for it? And kind of start with answering some of those questions. But somebody that wants to launch a digital course, they do need to be in it for the long haul. It is not a simple thing. It is a long-term game, but you can be very, very lucrative, successful with it. So I would kind of start like asking those questions. Why do you want to do this? Because that will be the thing that carries you through as you go on.
Love it. How have you seen, you mentioned one of your clients that went from working full-time to now working part-time because of her course. How have you seen successful courses change people's life and business?
Yeah, it gives them freedom. It gives them freedom to either leave their full-time job or reduce the amount of hours in their full-time job, to taking on less. A lot of our clients are also coaches or have one-on-one clients, and they just get burnt out. And so they can maybe keep a few clients, maybe keep their favorite clients, or only the people that they truly want to work with. And then they can still be running their business with courses. It just helps offset. And there's a lot when you're first creating your course. It is time consuming, but I like to say it's a season of your business. But once your course is created, once you've launched it, it's so much easier to keep repeating. You just kind of have to get through that.
It's not like fully passive, but it's relatively passive income.
It's
compared to them doing one-on-one coaching every single week.
Yes. And I think once you get through that season, then that passive option is definitely there.
I wouldn't say passive, but like it's more passive than you having to go and do the daily grind.
Yeah, you got it. Absolutely.
Love it. Well, cool. Chelsea, super interesting. And it's super great to kind of just hear about your success. Tell the listeners how they can learn more about you, where they can follow you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super active on Instagram. So Miss Chelsea Hayes, MSCHELSIEHAYES. And I go live every Monday. I do a live show talking about Kajabi. That's our platform that we use. Kajabi tips, launch tricks that we do, and kind of what's happening real time for us with our clients and the launches that we're working on. So Instagram, and then I take that live show and I turn it into a podcast because it's just easier to listen. If you
know.
How about website?
Yep, it's yourcoursepro.com. And anybody that does want to do a launch, they can go to yourcoursepro.com/checklist. I have my 90-day checklist because we usually take about 90 days to get a course ready to launch. And so it has week by week, here are the exact tasks that you as a course creator can do to prepare yourself for a launch.
So beautiful. I love it. I love it. I think it's super smart. Like I said, it was a business I'd considered like pre-pandemic, and then I just got too busy to even look into it. So I think it's like something every single business owner, if you have like an educational piece to your business, like people need to know something, I think it's something everyone needs to do.
And it's just going up from here.
Love it. Chelsea, thank you so much for being on with us.
Thank you for having me.